This video will showcase the magic trick, perfect pairs, and explain the theory behind it. Firstly, we start with 5 pairs of cards, separated into 2 decks. The first deck contains the red cards, from Ace to 5. Similarly, the second deck here contains the respective black cards, Ace to 5. Now, we will place this deck on top of the other. Next, we cut the deck in any manner and for as many times as we want. I will now deal out 5 cards to create 2 decks again. Choose either deck, and do 4 swaps, in which you take the top card and place it at the bottom. Take out the top 2 cards and leave it at the side. Repeat this process, except now with 3 swaps. In this case, I will now do 2 swaps on the right and 1 on the left. Take out the top 2 cards. Now, we do 2 swaps, 1 on each side. Lastly, we choose either deck to do the one last swap. Take out the first 2 cards. Now let's reveal this final pair of cards, which happens to be the pair of aces. Let's reveal the rest of the pairs. And there we go, we get a set of perfect pairs. Explanation. Firstly, here are the 2 decks of cards we start with. This deck is arranged in this particular order, with Ace right at the bottom and 5 right at the top. The same order goes for the second deck of black cards. Next, we will stack this deck on top of the other. And this will result in a sequence, Ace to 5 for the first color, then Ace to 5 for the second. The next step, which is to cut the deck, is used to create the illusion that the deck is messed up and random. This can be done as many times as possible. But the trick to this is that cutting decks never changes the order of the cards. As you can see, the order remains the same. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, we will do the rest of the trick with cards spaced up so it is easier to see the trick behind it. This is the same deck as before, with black 3 being the bottom card, and black 2 being the top card. The next step is the key step. When we deal out the first 5 cards of the deck, we reverse the order of the first 5 cards. When we stack these 2 decks together once again, we get a deck that has a special order. Three, 4, 5, Ace 2, 2, Ace 5, 4, 3. This is called a palindromic sequence, in which the sequence is the same whether seen from forwards or backwards. This sequence ensures that when a deck is split into 2, every pair of cards are exactly 4 other cards away from the other deck, which means every pair is now out of step by 4 cards. Hence, we ask the audience to do 4 swaps to bump up the order. First, let's do the 4 swaps solely on this deck. 3 here is 1, 2, 3, 4 chords away from the next 3. Next, since each deck now has 1 less card, the remaining pairs are out of step by 3 cards, so 3 swaps are now required. Now, let's do 2 swaps on this deck. And 1 more on this deck. Similarly, we get another pair. Notice that the swaps can be done on either deck. In this case, all pairs are out of sync by 2 chords now. Any swap will still reduce the distance between any of the pair. 5 here is 2 chords away from the next 5. Let's do 2 swaps on this deck. We get another pair. Lastly, we are down to just 1 last swap, as the remaining pairs are now only out of step by 1 card. And there we have another pair of cards. Since all the other cards were paired up previously, this last pair of cards will obviously be matching as well. Here is another way to look at the theory behind this trick. These are the 2 decks, fanned out, and the top and bottom of the deck is as labeled. As mentioned earlier, every pair of cards are out of step by 4 cards, that is, every pair has 4 other cards in between them. For example, 5 here is 4 chords away from the next 5. 4 here is also 4 chords away from the next 4. Same goes for 3. Hence, the swaps can be done on either deck, the only thing it will affect is which pair gets pushed up to the top. For illustration, let us do 4 swaps on this deck, so that we can push 5 to the top. As expected, after 4 swaps, the 5 pair is at the top. Since each deck now has 1 less card, every pair is now out of step by 3 cards. So 3 swaps are needed now. We can do 2 swaps here and another at the other deck. This will then push the 2 pair up. This then goes on for the rest of the deck, creating all the pairs we need. Further applications.